From here starts the speaking test. This is the speaking test of the International English Language Testing System taking place in Ross IELTS Academy. The candidate is Ricardo Pacheco Aro, candidate number 0143257. The examiner is Mernoush Hafi, examiner number 443533. Good morning, my name is Mernoush Hafi. Would you please tell me your full name?
Yes, good morning. My name is Ricardo Pacheco Aro.
What can I call you?
Ricardo.
Ricardo, can I see your identification, please?
Yes.
Thank you. Thank you very much. We can now get started with the first part of the exam. In the first part, I will ask you some personal questions. First, let's talk about your neighborhood. Where are you living now?
Well, actually I live in the north of the city. It's a cool, pretty place because I can communicate with my neighbors. I can go to the park or maybe go to the store and buy some things, like just to play with some cousins that I have over there.
And do you like the area that you live in?
Yes, the weather is so nice. I guess I can do some activities over there without maybe the violence in here.
What can be improved in the area where you live?
What can improve? That's a good question because I don't think so that I can play on the ground, but I think that I just want to, I don't know, do some exercise or activities.
Now let's talk about getting up early. Do you often get up early in the morning?
Well, I think that I just get up early because I go to school in the morning like 7 a.m. But I don't really want to get up early because I don't know, I just in the night I just sleep over the 1 a.m.
And what's your morning routine?
Actually, I just get up and go to school. I don't have much time to eat the breakfast or maybe to communicate with my mother and just put up my things in.
And what kinds of people usually get up early?
What kind of people? I think the people that just have a routine in the all day and have enough time to get up early is that people that go to bed and like I don't think 10 p.m. or maybe.
Now let's move on to talk about sport. Did you do any sport when you were younger?
Well, the kind of sport that I practice is not a sport called by its name, but it's some exercise that I just do all the time. It's dance.
And do you enjoy watching a sport?
Okay. Well, actually, by my activities and what I practice, I don't usually watch TV and watch that kind of sports, but I really can to love watching volleyball or maybe basket.
And do you think there is too much sport on television in your country?
Well, I think so that is not a good place to watch the television, but in my country, I don't think so there are too much activities or programs in TV.
Thank you. Now we can move on to the second part of the exam. So in the second part, I will give you a card with a topic and you will have to talk about this topic for 2 minutes. But before you do so, you'll have 1 minute to think about what you're going to say and you can make some notes to help you if you wish. Do you understand?
Yes.
Great. Now I'm giving you the cue card and the paper and a pen for you to make notes. And you should talk about a fashion item that you want to buy. So here you go. Now you have 1 minute to think about this topic and I will let you know once your 1 minute is over. Now your 1 minute is over, and you may talk about this topic for 2 minutes, but do not worry if I stop you. So you can start talking now.
Well, you asked me to talk about an item that I just want to buy, and this is a fashion item. I just want to say that I just want to buy this item that is a phone. I think so that this item that I want to buy is to a famous mart that are in the mall. I don't think that it's cheap or the cheapest phone that I can buy because it's too expensive that and also you can buy this item in the mall or maybe near in like there are a market over the center of the city, but there are some phones that are stolen by itself. This item is a phone. I just think that I want it black and not that bigger because by my activities and what I do, this is not the ideal thing that I can buy. Well, I just have a phone, but I bought it 3 years ago, and I don't want to change it because I think this item or this phone that I have just give me the activities or give me the time to communicate by my family or communicate to other persons that I don't have the easy way to communicate on its own. And I don't know, another fashion item that I can or I want to buy, I think that it's a toy. I know that by my age I can...
Thank you very much. Your 2 minutes over. Now, can you please hand me back the papers and the pen? Thank you. Thanks a lot. We can now move on to the third part of the exam. So, in the second part, you described a fashion item that you want to buy. Now, in this part, I want to ask you some questions related to this topic. What type of clothes do you like?
Well, that's a good question because I don't look forward that thing of usually things that I can buy, but I guess that I just want sport things. Like what I do is activities or dance, and I think that a short or maybe a t-shirt, but like to sport or to fit things.
And how do people choose what style of clothing to buy?
I guess that some people just want that kind of clothes based on what activities they do. Like something that I can tell you is another people want to buy like clothes for fashion models or to go to a cinema. I don't think that it's relevant.
And why do you think some people buy brand name clothes? Why do you think it's important to them?
It's important more often because the social medias. I think that the people can usually go for it because they want to express themselves based on that social medias and that kind of statistic that they...
So aren't there any other ways to express yourself other than using the clothes or what you wear?
Yes, they can also go to accessories or that made of things that can just buy jewelry or glasses, I don't think.
Okay. Now, sometimes some factory workers and very often school students have to wear uniforms. So do you think that uniforms are suitable for people to wear?
By the habit that you manage, you can go forward to that uniforms because by my age or by my area that I can go for it, I just don't use that uniforms, but yes, like pattern or some models that I can use.
And do you think that it's a good idea to follow foreign fashion trends?
Follow fashion trends.
To follow foreign fashion trends.
Okay. Well, I don't think so.
Why not?
Because the fashion models or the foreign fashion trends you tell, it's always changed, and it is not a good idea to follow that kind of things that it's just in the present, and in the future you don't know if it's going to pass.
Thank you very much. Now this is the end of the speaking test. Now I will just need 2 minutes to add up your score in different criteria, and then I will give you the feedback based on the criteria and your overall band score, okay?
Okay.
Speaking course. This course is made up of 5 offline speaking videos in which you will learn all the necessary tips and techniques to take the IELTS speaking test with a high score.
Tell me about your family. Do you like...
In addition to that, you will have access to useful grammar and vocabulary resources. Once you finish your course, you will have 1 online mock test of speaking, along with comprehensive feedback under the same exam conditions.
Interesting question. A very...
Join us to become our next successful candidate.
Okay, now let's see what you did. First, I want to start with your fluency and coherence, the first criteria, and then we will get into detail of the next criteria. So, to talk about your fluency and coherence, I can say that, first of all, it was one of your strongest points, how you were able to just keep talking and the flow of a speech you had. But the thing is that there are other things that matter regarding your fluency and coherence. So the first thing is the flow of a speech that you had. You were able to answer all the questions, and even if you had no idea what you should say, you just kept talking. So that was a really good one. And you didn't have many hesitations or self-correction. You just had a few, but you managed to talk about familiar or unfamiliar topics. The thing is that you have to use a range of connectives and discourse markers if you want to get 5 and above. But the thing is that here you only used and, so, but, because. About the discourse markers you were using, well, actually, I guess, so maybe you can just give a range to the connectives or discourse markers you're using. For example, on one hand, on the other hand, although, unlike, unless, besides, however. So there are lots of words that you can use as alternatives for these words. That's the first thing that you should work on regarding your fluency and coherence. The other thing is that you have to give a relevant answer to the question. You should listen carefully what question the examiner is asking you or what tense you have to use, and then you should give a related answer to that question. In the first part or in the third part, your topic development was really good, and you were able to explain or give examples, and that is really good. But the problem here was the second part. In the second part, there are 2 important things. The first one is to talk for 2 minutes, and you did so. You were just talking about the bullet points, and when you realized that you still have got time, you started talking about another fashion item. But you have to make sure that you are actually talking about the bullet points that you are asked to. I asked you to talk about a fashion item, but you started talking about the cell phone that you want to buy. So it had nothing to do with the question and with the bullet points. So that was the problem here. Listen carefully or read the question very carefully to see what you're expected to say. This is all about your fluency and coherence. Now to talk about your lexical resource, your vocabulary. I can say that in your vocabulary, first of all, one problem was that in the second part, you maybe didn't understand the meaning of fashion item. So if you don't understand the meaning of a word, or some candidates ask for the definition of a word, then it means that you have problems in this criteria. The other thing I can say is that you were able, as I just mentioned before, you were able to talk about familiar or unfamiliar topics, but the range of the vocabulary you were using was a bit limited. If you want to get 6 or if you want to get 7, you have to use a range of collocations and idiomatic vocabulary and show the examiner that you are familiar with the style when you're using the words. So just give a range to the words that you are using, and you don't need to know the collocations or vocabulary in all the different topics. All you need to do is sometimes apply the strategies or techniques and go off the topic. Or fake your answer because you want to just say something, but you should always give a relevant answer to the question. I liked how you were trying to use fillers and boosters. Like, I asked you a question and you said, that's a very interesting question, or you just repeated the question like you're thinking about it. So this was good. Maybe you can just paraphrase a bit better. Because you shouldn't repeat the examiner's question, you have to use some synonyms to paraphrase the question when you're giving the answer. So that's your vocabulary and your grammatical range and accuracy. In your grammar, I mean, I can say that you have a good command of English. You can just work a bit on different parts to improve it and just to give a range to what you're using. And one of the reasons that you had the flow of a speech was because of your grammar. You were confident to use different structures. I could hear some simple sentences and some complex structures at the same time. For example, you used relative clauses or subordinate clauses, so that's something you have to do. And if you want to get 7 and above, then you have to give a wider range to the complex structures that you are using. But at the same time, you made some mistakes, so be careful with your mistakes. For example, you said it was mostly singular and plural, and some structures or some mistakes that you kept repeating. For example, I don't think so that, I don't think that. Then you want to just continue, or you want to make a sentence, then no need to use so. That people, those people, another people, other people. Or it just gives me, the third person is, or other persons, no, other people. So be careful with these mistakes, and you can maybe use a wider range of tenses, present perfect or the future tenses. All I'm saying is you should give a range to the structures and to the words you're using, but only use the ones that you are 100% sure about. And finally, to talk about your pronunciation. One thing I can say about your pronunciation is your pace of a speech. Your pace was good. It was not too fast or too slow, and it was easy and clear to understand. Other than that, you were trying to use some pronunciation features like a good intonation. Like how you were talking to me, it was not flat. You were raising and lowering your voice depending on the sentence you're using, or if it's a question. And that was good. You only had some mispronunciations. For example, whether, you didn't pronounce it well. Usually, you said usually, something like that. Ideal, the word is stress. You said ideal, no, ideal. And short, it should have been shorts, because I wasn't sure if you wanted to use the word shirt or short. If it's short, then you should say shorts. And based on. And the word cause, don't pronounce it cause, because the full word is because. You have to pronounce the words clearly and fully. So do you have any questions?
No.
Okay then, so best of luck.
Thank you so much.